this show dives deep into the catalog of heroes to form a team.
Yeah.
How cool is it for you to bring sort of like some of the unsung heroes to the screen?
Yeah, I mean those are my people. You know, those are the ones that like I can relate to, and those are the ones who have the sort of most real estate, like psychologically, that's sort of unexplored. So that like to me that's a treat because you know you're sort of going it's unexplored territory, and there's the most sort of up for grabs, and being able to put them in proximity to people who are so different is the most like dramatic tension that you could possibly create on a show.
So Rip Hunter brings this ragtag team together, but is there a clear leader, or will there be a clear leader that develops?
I think there's like 8 clear leaders. I mean, that's the beauty of it. It is sort of like any group of strong personalities. Everybody thinks that their way is the right way and that their worldview is the correct one, and you know, the fun of the show is basically putting everybody, basically disproving everybody and, trying to force these individuals to form like a coherent group, despite all of, the fact that they don't get along.
Right.
Yeah.
As a sort of proud papa, do you have a favorite, or are you never going to commit to that?
Well, I mean, the thing that's neat about the show, it has kind of a roving spotlight, I mean, you are able, sort of like with Lost, there would be times when Hurley, or what's his name, would be carrying firewood through the background in one episode, and that was his storyline. We're not quite that extreme, but, and then all of a sudden, he would get a flashback story, and, to me, that's really exciting that, you can kind of shift the focus of the show, and not just that, you can create these new sort of combinations of characters. Like, we have so many people on our show that there are people in the 7th episode who still haven't had an individual scene with somebody else. Right. And all of a sudden you have them on our time-traveling spaceship having a conversation, and it feels so fresh and so interesting, and the idea that these people would ever be sharing screen time is like, it's really exhilarating. And so the show constantly feels like you're not just rehashing the same character dynamics, it's constantly evolving because there's so many permutations.
This one's really interesting because it's unique in it has the time travel element.
Yeah.
Time travel will also let you explore certain like characters from different eras. So like the Flash as a different era. Are you actively looking into doing that?
We are actively looking to do that. If only Grant and Steven had like twin brothers, so that we could actually use them without shutting down their own productions, we would certainly do it more. But as much as humanly possible, we will return to the worlds of Star City and Central City in the past and future, and try to reimagine these alternate versions of our world, or the world of the other 2 shows.
I know you're probably not going to give me the answer to this, but how far back in history are you going to go?
It's focusing primarily on the 20th century because I'm a bit of like a history nerd, and so the backdrop for our show are the sort of turning point events of the 20th century, whether it's, atomic age or threat of fascism or, the advent of the age of terrorism. So you're there at these sort of these watershed moments is the backdrop. Which is not to say that I wouldn't like to see some dinosaurs. Or at least, I would like to do some like prehistoric world. Not that, we shoot the show in Canada, and if you spend time in the woods of Vancouver, it looks prehistoric. So yes.
Drop a couple brontosauruses in there, we're set.
We're done.
So I want to know, how long was this in the works? Was it something that developed out of putting, the Atom in other shows, or was it like that was the plan way before?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like it worked, and usually the mentality of like a little bit works. What about a lot? And so this became, I think Mark Pedowitz, the head of the CW, was so tickled by the crossovers last year that he thought, like, what happened if we created like a Bula base of all the sort of fringe characters and bad guys of the week and made a show out of them, and I think it was so crazy, it's genius.
Describe the team dynamic a little bit. This is definitely
man.
like a heroes, villains all mixed up in. And what you say is Bouillabaisse, and that's the first time I've ever heard that word in an interview.
Yeah. It's much more, it's not like the Avengers where everybody's sort of pulling in the same direction. Our team is sort of cannibalizes itself a lot of the time. A lot of the our own worst enemy are often like right there on the ship with us, and that's what I find interesting because Vandal Savage and the sort of uber bad guy is fascinating, but to watch like people like having to like try to get along, that's the stuff of like character drama that I dig. Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for chatting.